Welcome to the Athletic Brewing post-race report. I'm Greg Welch here at the Intermountain Health IRONMAN 70.3 St. George, the North American Championship, the sixth stop in the Ironman Pro Series in 2025. What a great race it was today right here in Utah. So let's now take a look of the highlights of today's race. Taking a look at our men's pro highlights here, and at 6:40 a.m. over the beautiful Sand Hollow Reservoir was the start of our men's pro race, and it wasn't too long before Seth Ryder and Mark Dubrick made a little bit of a break on the rest of the competition here, and that's exactly what Seth Ryder and Mark was set out to do. They had the likes of Lionel Sanders and Magnus Ditlev, some of the favourites there, back in the pack, trying to limit the amount of time that they would lose in Sand Hollow Reservoir. Sam Long was swimming at around about 3 minutes and 30 seconds down on the rest of the pack as another favourite in the race as well. And from the USA, Seth Ryder standing up out of Sand Hollow Reservoir in first place in our men's pro swim right now. Mark Dubrick in second place, and then all the contenders right behind. But running up past a sea of green caps there with over 300 age group athletes, it was Seth Ryder to run up into transition in first place. Mark Dubrick in second place, the American. But then when they got out onto the ride here, going through the cities of Hurricane and Washington early, it was Seth Ryder. And then disaster struck with a rear blowout right here with Justin Rial, and you don't see that too often on live TV. Justin taking about 90 seconds to get the puncture fixed and back on the road. Onto the road we went, onto the 56-mile bike course here, one of the most spectacular in all of triathlon, and it was Lionel Sanders, the Canadian, who just 5 weeks ago took the Athletic Brewing IRONMAN 70.3 Oceanside, carried that form over to St. George in Utah today, overtaking Magnus Ditlev. But it was Magnus Ditlev himself, the tall Danish athlete, having troubles of his own, having to stop and fixing a front puncture himself, so taking on a new wheel, and just was not the same from that point. Dubrick goes back by Ditlev, and by the time that they got into Snow Canyon, it was all Ditlev and also Lionel Sanders up the road. Sam Long was pushing and really making his teeth into this course as well. Lionel Sanders going up the steepest part of Snow Canyon was really on fire today as he was being chased by Seth Ryder and Sam Long. Seth couldn't do much about it, the early swim leader, as the pace was just too much, and it didn't take long for Sam Long to take control of the second spot. As they reached the toughest part of the bike course today before the screaming descent back into St. George, it was Sam Long that was starting to take a little bit of time out of Lionel Sanders. Having left the transition area number 1 3 minutes and 45 seconds down, Long was now trying to limit the amount of time coming into T2. But it was Lionel Sanders, the Canadian, on form right now, that really pushed it hard on the final couple of kilometres, coming back into town at speeds of up to 90 kilometres an hour. Didn't take long for the Canadian to find his feet and that nice smooth rhythm as he ran out of town up onto Main Street, where he would get a good look at Sam Long going the other way. Fast dismount and second fastest transition of the day by the Ruby T2 transition was Sam Long, the American, now in second place and in the chase for the lead. But it was Lionel Sanders, the Canadian, that kept that running style that has been very synonymous to his triathlon career going, and fast foot speed was able to keep him in the lead. Sam Long did make a little bit of a move toward Lionel Sanders in the second lap of the run, but Sanders had it going. The fast turnover on the downhills, he dug in hard on the uphills, and that beautiful Dixie Red Hills golf course is always a pleasure to run on. Sam Long, the American, didn't really have anything in the tank at the end of the race when Lionel Sanders decided to just open it up just that little bit and take the crown one more time. So it's the Canadian with 270.3 back-to-back races from Oceanside and now St. George to take the crown. Sitting in second place at the North American Championship was Sam Long, who trains out of Tucson, Arizona, and calls Lyle Sanders a training partner. Well, today, number 1 and number 2 in the championship. And what a great race for the up-and-comer. Colin Such from the USA capturing third place and the final spot on the podium in what was the best race of his career. Lionel Sanders collects 2,500 points and maximum points on the day. Sam Long, 23.66, and there's Colin Such in 21.30, all the way down to Mark Dubrick, 1,762 points. Male Pro Series standings has New Zealand's Ben Hamilton in first place. Cameron Worth also racing today in second. Rudy von Berg, Jonas Schomburg and Jake Birtwistle round out the top 5. And Magnus Ditlev, even on a bad day, picks up some points and is in 7th place. Casper Storms from Norway is in 10th. And now it's time to pick up on our women's pro race right here. So starting 10 minutes after our men's pro race was our women. They got started at 6:50 a.m. A beautiful morning here, slight wind out of the east at about 4 kilometers an hour on what was promising to be a big day. With the podium from the 70.3 Oceanside race just 5 weeks ago in the event today, Paula Finlay and also Danielle Lewis and Jackie Herring were going to start as favourites, but early swim leader Vitória Lopes from Brazil was getting after it with a fast, very quick cadence of the arms here today and getting out to an early lead. Then it was Lotte Wilms from the Netherlands who was chasing down Lopez, but absolutely no way was she going to catch the fast Brazilian swimmer today. And it was Lopez to emerge from the water at Sand Hollow Reservoir in first place. A long transition run up into T1 saw Lopez going out from Brazil in first. There's Lotte Wilms in the green going out in second place and almost catching up to Lopez in transition. That is what Paula Finlay did, had a great transition and did pick up a little bit of time, but it wasn't until in town that Paula Finlay was able to do anything about the fast pace on the women's race. Jackie Herring just going by and Lopez just really putting the hammer down today in a very, very good start to her 70.3 racing. Lotte Wilms was strong out onto the bike course today, but didn't have an answer for the people like Jocelyn McCauley and Lisa Piqueras as they made their way right up into 3rd and 4th position at that very early going. Piqueras riding strongly right now, said in a pre-race interview that she wanted to have a good crack at Paula Finlay today, but it wasn't to happen because Paula Finlay, being the cyclist as she is, was pulling away from the minor positions. Meanwhile, at the front, Lopez was having the race of her life up until Evans, where she was caught just outside of St. George by Paula Finlay. Then it was Paula Finlay, the Canadian, who won just 5 weeks ago and is showing very good form at the moment. Look at the turnover. That's what she used to create a nice little gap in between her and second place, Vitória Lopes, at that time. Paula Finlay was waiting and being very patient until the toughest climb of the day. Then once she would reach the top, she would have a little bit of a gap on the rest of the field, but Lopez was not giving up without a fight. Going through Snow Canyon, the most beautiful part of the bike ride today, saw the Canadian reduced to the bottom chainring, to the easiest gear on a bike here today, very steep going. Jocelyn McCauley, the strong American rider, didn't really have an answer for Paula Finlay, and at the time sitting in 3rd place, but on the way back down, it's very fast, reaching top speeds of about 85 kilometers an hour in our women's pro race today. It was Paula Finlay to reach the transition area number 2 in first place. Vitória Lopes from Brazil was not too far back, but carrying an injury, we didn't know how far Lopez could go into the run course today. Finlay racks the bike, then she makes a quick transition and gets out onto the course, but it was Lopez that had the faster transition. Immediately accelerating away from Paula Finlay, the Canadian, it was the Brazilian that would get off to a good start, but it wouldn't be too long, and actually inside of the first 1 mile that Lopez would have to call it a day, citing an injury and a stress fracture over the last couple of weeks. Then it was Finlay to go on in first place, and then a fast and hard-charging Danielle Lewis where she would catch up and move herself into second place, overtaking Becerras. And then Danielle Lewis would go on to stay in second place for the rest of the day after going past Macaulay. Jackie Herring was also making inroads to the race at this point of time, but it was Finlay to find herself at the highest part of the course and really moving away from the competition. Danielle Lewis had it all at her feet right now with that fast closing foot speed, but then Jackie Herring was trying to show her face at the beginning of the race as well, and then solidifying that third position. Jackie Herring now coming down Diagonal Street toward the end of the race here, and a fast charging way to come on the way back to the finish line. Paula Finlay with 270.3 back-to-back wins from Oceanside, and now the Intermountain Health IRONMAN 70.3 champion does it again. Danielle Lewis brings the foot speed all the way in to get the silver medal, and fast finishing Jackie Herring, the final spot on the podium. The same podium as they shared in Oceanside. Paula Finlay takes to 2,500 points, Danielle Lewis with 23.14, and every second matters for Jackie Herring, taking 2,140. Simone Mitchell and Lotta Films rounding out the top 5. Laura Sidal and Nicole Ficaro in 9th and 10th. The point standings right now has Annie Reichmann from Germany in first place with 6,833 points. Chloe Lane in second. Maya Stade Nelson from Denmark in third. Kat Matthews with a brilliant performance in Ironman Texas, sitting right up there with 5,000 points. Paula Finlay and Tamara Jewett in 5th and 6th, and all the way down to 9 and 10 is Danielle Lewis and Jackie Herring. This has been the Athletic Brewing post-race report.